Alright, so here's the deal. Two MiG-29s in DCS. One is the good old Flaming Cliffs version and the other is the shiny new full fidelity one. Same airframe, but trust me, they do not feel the same. Let's put them side by side and see what's what. So quick background. Flaming Cliffs, that's kind of the light line in DCS. You get the pro level flight model, but the cockpit is not clickable. The systems are simplified and it's basically plug and play. Full fidelity though, that's a full switch flipping experience. Cold start, radar quirks, and the usual full fidelity stuff, you know. For this test, I've set both jets up the same, 60% fuel, 2 R-73s, 2 R-27s, clean day on carcasses. I think it's a fair fight. Taking off first, both versions actually feel pretty similar here. Because under the hood, Flaming Cliffs already has the professional flight model. Rotation feels about the same, ground effects too. Now let's crank into a sustained turn. Yup, G onset looks identical. When I flew them for comparison, I kind of felt the Flaming Cliffs version could retain more speed and energy even after one full 360-degree turn. But I'm no flight dynamics expert, so take my analysis with a big grain of salt. With that said, when I push it into high AOA, again, I felt the Flaming Cliffs version held on to more speed after a full 360-degree loop. And it felt a little easier to control than the full fidelity one. I suppose this is how it should be, since the full fidelity version has more sophisticated flight dynamics and avionics. Let's now talk about the looks. At first glance, both cockpits look good. But when you zoom in, the FC cockpit textures lose detail. They are older, lower resolution, serviceable, but kinda flat. Now look at the full fidelity pit. Way sharper textures, reflections on the gauges, and most switches, knobs, buttons, and gauges move as expected. At night, you've got working floodlights and instruments backlighting that actually looks alive. Outside the jet, same story. The FC model is fine, but the full fidelity has way more detail in the skin. Weathering, and little animations like gear doors and control surfaces. If immersion matters to you, I would say it's a big upgrade. Oh yeah, one more thing though. There's no in-cockpit pilot model in the Flaming Cliffs version. Only the full fidelity version has it. Startup time. In Flaming Cliffs, I hit a few keys, engines spool up, and I'm ready to taxi and take off in less than a few minutes. In the full fidelity, cold and dark, flipping switches, warming the INS. You know, the usual routine when you are waking up a cold jet. Yeah, it's a process. And while it sometimes makes you wonder what the hell you're doing, I actually like it. In flaming clips, press that magic master mode change key, find the target, hit the lock button, and bam, target acquired. In the full fidelity jet, you've got to actually work the mods, adjust the elevation, and yeah, you can lose the track if you're sloppy. More fiddly but way closer to the real deal. Now, let's check out the autopilot system. Flaming Cliff's fulcrum and the full fidelity aren't that different in this regard. The biggest difference is that in full fidelity, you can actually click and operate the autopilot related controls in the cockpit, but not the case with Flaming Cliffs. However, the full fidelity version's autopilot system is currently bugged, and ED said it's on their top priority fix list, so I expect it'll be sorted out soon. I made a mission to test the air-to-air weapons employment capabilities of the two modules. The setup is this. There are two Block 52 F-16s controlled by ACE AI, closing in Flaming Cliffs jet. The process of locking up an airborne target is somewhat similar, but much more simplified and relatively easier to find and get a lock. I look for a target either visually or on the radar. Press the target lock button, box 3, job done. Full fidelity, I'm scanning, slewing the seeker, making sure I've actually got the lock on before I send it. And finding a target on the radar or using the IR sensor can get tricky if the surrounding environment or situation has, let's say, distractions or clutter. But with some practice and getting used to it, it becomes easier. Flaming Clips simplifies a lot of the lock logic. Full fidelity forces you to manage your radar mode, and if you screw up, you don't get launch authorization. So the Flaming Clips one is faster, but the full fidelity one feels more earned. And in the full fidelity jet, it takes a little longer to get used to its old Soviet era tech and mechanics. But once you do, you get more control over how you execute the fight. So I guess it's speed versus realism. Other than that, air-to-air engagements are almost identical, including the guns-only dogfight. Except the full fidelity version makes you way more involved, if you know what I mean. Here's something small but huge. In the full fidelity pit, I can mess with HUD brightness, flip radar range knobs, play with switches. In Flaming Clips, none of that. You're stuck with whatever the sim gives you. Now, let's check the performance of the two modules. But before I show you the results, here are my settings for this test. You can pause and take a close look if you need to. It's a city flyover. As most systems are relatively simplified, the Flaming Cliffs version aircraft usually performs better on any given PC in general. If you look at the on-screen FPS counter and the frame timing, you can see the Flaming Cliffs version is running smooth as butter. For fidelity, you can see occasional frame drops in the cockpit, but honestly, it's not as bad as I expected. You're not losing half your frames, just a little hit for all that extra cockpit detail. Even VR performance is decent in its current state. By the way, my PC and VR specs are down in the description below. For an early access release, I think that's pretty impressive. Quick sound check. The Flaming Cliffs MiG-29 sounds are decent. You've got the basics: engine rumble, burner roar, some cockpit beeps, but that's about it. While its sound quality is above average, I personally think the full fidelity one sounds a little better. Well, at least to my ears. But I'll let you be the judge. I'll keep my mouth shut for a while. Here it goes. The engine spool has layers. You can hear the turbine wind up. Warning tones are sharper, and the whole cockpit feels more alive. It's subtle, but once you notice it, you can't go back. So bottom line, flight model, pretty much the same. No surprise there. Graphics and immersion, huge win for full fidelity. Systems and procedures, night and day. If you just want to jump in, dogfight, and not think too hard, Flaming Clips is still solid. But if you want to really fly the MiG-29 like the real deal, full fidelity is the way to go. Personally, I'm sticking with the full fidelity jet. It just feels more alive. Alright, that's it for this little showdown between the Flaming Clips and the full fidelity MiG-29. If you made it this far, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope this helps you decide which one is worth your time and hard-earned cash. If you liked the video, you know the drill. Hit the like button, drop a comment if you have flown either of these and have your own take. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more DCS stuff like this. Until next time, fly safe, and I'll see you in the skies.